My main message behind today's video is to show you all that it's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to reach out. People suffer with mental health in different ways, and that's also okay.
Talk about it. Write it down.
Find something that makes you feel happy.
Realise that you're not alone.
No one wants to talk to me. No one wants to spend time with me. No one wants to do these things with me. I'm all on my own. Trust me. Put the word out. There'll be people who want to spend time with you. There'll be people who want to listen to you. There'll be people who want to just be there, even if you don't want to talk.
Hi, my name's Evie Peyton. I'm 13 years old. My hobbies are singing, dancing, acting and social media, and when I'm older I'd love to be an influencer or help with mental health in some way.
I'm India. I love animals. Not great academically, but I did go to uni. So I'm not there at least, anyway. I've had a lot of jobs.
My name is Taylor Lee. I am 14 and I enjoy doing like exercise like swimming, horse riding, and I'm in Army Cadets.
I am Amra Sante. I'm 13. I'm in year 8. I love performing, singing, dancing. Also love cooking. But yeah.
Hi, I'm Becky. I am mum of 2 kids. I work selling outdoor clothes, and I have lived in the Peak District for 30 years. I moved up here from London.
One of my biggest passions is to dance. I'm into dance competitions, and yeah, that's one of my, I just love to dance.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I'm 14 years old. I have my own YouTube channel called TNS Waves, which is how I met you, Evie, through TNS Waves on Instagram. I go to school, obviously, I have a job. Yeah, life's great.
I'm Hannah, I'm 20 and I'm a 3rd year psychology student at Edge Hill University.
So I'm Charlie, I am 20 years old and I live in London.
I did struggle with my mental health during lockdown, I think because you can't see anyone and being stuck in the same 4 walls all the time 24/7. Even just FaceTiming your friends, that's not the same as seeing them face to face, or seeing your family. I'm a very family person, so I think I did miss my family the most, and I think that got to me a lot during lockdown.
Quite. Well, for me it was just the same, but I was still working because I used to be a care worker. So I never stopped working, I was always still busy. But the only thing that affected me was I wanted to go out and do more, and I was feeling more confident in myself, and then obviously lockdown happened and COVID and whatnot, and then I couldn't go and do anything, which really sucked.
Lockdown was really hard for me as well because obviously not seeing friends and family was extremely hard, and it went downhill a lot.
Okay, so I quite struggled with my mental health in lockdown. I had quite a lot of unkindness online towards me. I found schoolwork quite stressful, especially when school was sending quite a lot for me to do. But I did what I could. I didn't push myself, but I tried my best to, just keep going.
Not great. At the beginning of lockdown it was really difficult because I am a very sociable person. I'm a very weird person because I'm very sociable but also a bit introverted, so I need to be able to talk to lots of people, but also need to get my own personal space, but I don't need too much personal space because then I think too much. So the beginning of lockdown was very difficult, so I started finding things to do that meant that I could interact socially with people even though I was in lockdown.
It was okay. I got through it all. It was alright. I felt like, for me, the homeschooling was
easy, and I was able to do it, and I felt like there was no stress, so yeah.
In lockdown, I would say my mental health was really good. I had lots of things to keep me busy. So I had an Instagram fan page, I had my YouTube, obviously I had schoolwork. So I was really busy in lockdown, which was great. And I would say my mental health was really good in lockdown, surprisingly, because I know a lot of people struggled with their mental health. But overall, mine was really good, which is great.
During lockdown, I felt like my mental health was probably at the worst it's been. But not because of any circumstances, just the fact that it was lonely. But with certain things, they helped to make it like better, and then obviously like getting bad news of going back into other lockdowns kind of made it worse. But I was very fortunate that I had like support from other people. I'm not saying that it was like bad in any way like compared to other people, but it definitely had like dipped compared to like in the past. But I think that's just because of the situation and how like lonely it was, and like the concerns about the future.
To begin with, it was okay because I was just getting like used to things, and my fiance's family, like I was staying with them, so like we'll do like exercise every day, we'll like bake and stuff. So the first lockdown wasn't too bad. But then the second kind of lockdown and then the third lockdown really affected me, because I felt really alone at times, and everyone else was like still going to work and stuff, and yeah, it was just a bit lonely, but yeah.
100%. I definitely saw my mood change during lockdown, and it definitely rubbed off on everybody else. I was worried about the coronavirus, so I struggled with going out on the one exercise a day. I didn't go out for the first 3 months, which was really unhealthy for me and for my mind.
Yeah, definitely. Not being able to see some people and visit people and whatnot.
Yeah.
I felt quite lonely during lockdown because obviously you can't see any of your friends, family, and so yeah, I did feel quite lonely. Sometimes I felt like not really very motivated because you know you're at home. Home is meant to be the place where you're chilling, not doing your schoolwork. So it did feel a bit, you know, I should be chilling, not doing my schoolwork. But I think it really helped when they brought out the bubble system. So there was one person that you could at least see that wasn't your mum or your sister.
Yeah, but it changed. So at the beginning of lockdown, I was kind of miserable, and then when I started interacting socially on social media and doing Zoom calls with people, I found that my mental health went up. But then when I wasn't interacting with people, it was worse. So it kind of went from very, very cheerful and happy to really, really low.
Yeah, sometimes I could wake up like really grumpy, and I didn't know why that was. And other days I could like be really happy. It just depends, yeah. But I think being stuck in the house really got to me.
There wasn't a massive mood change, but I did notice kind of how much I missed school and how I missed my friends in lockdown. So I guess that you could kind of say that's a mood change, because my mood was that I was kind of feeling a little bit lonely, missing everybody, but there wasn't a sadness mood swing or anything, because I was overall really happy in lockdown.
I really noticed a dip in my mood during lockdown, and I don't know if that's because I was on my own or I didn't have anything really to do. Like I had online university, but as part of, say, compared to my usual life where I'd be going to work and going out, seeing friends, all of that was completely like taken away.
I guess a little bit, yeah. Like I was more like to myself, and I wouldn't really, some days were obviously worse than others, and I wouldn't talk to people really. I'd just be on like social media all day, and yeah, just keeping to myself, not really eating and stuff. But then some days I could be like really happy and excited. But yeah, it was kind of like a roller coaster in a way of like different days kind of thing.
I try to stay away from social media when I'm struggling with my mental health at a certain point. Obviously that's quite difficult as I do want to start gaining on social media and I do a lot of work on social media. However, I think it's important to take that break and take a step away from social media.
I don't like talking to people, so normally it's just a big battle in my head, and then I try and calm myself down, and then if that doesn't work, then I'll go to someone and they'll be like, you're just being silly, calm down.
Things that I do to harm myself is like drawing or getting out of the house and going on walks. I don't know, like socialising a lot.
I often find that singing really helps me. It's as well like specific songs that you can relate to them and they really do change my mood. Like you can relate to them, you can just sing away like nobody's listening to you. So I often find that singing really helps.
I think because I'm older and I've had a lot more time to kind of deal with my mental health issues, I have coping mechanisms in place where I recognise that I'm about to start feeling worse or too better. So because of the mental health issues I have, I can be very manic, which means that I'm very hyperactive, I talk very quickly, I start a job, then don't finish it and I'll go on to something else and I flit around a lot. So I try and work on making sure that I slow down, think about what I do, I make lists to make sure that I know what I'm doing. And on the opposite side of that, I know when I'm about to start feeling very low, very sad. And I still sometimes pull myself away from everybody and I don't talk to people as much as I should. But I do make sure that I try and talk to my best friends, my other half, tell him how I'm feeling, and he'll jolly me along, he'll find things to do that he knows will bring me back up again if I'm feeling sad. But sometimes it is just making sure that I look after myself physically, even if my mental health isn't great.
I like to meditate, that's something that I do, and it just like makes me feel more calm and like nothing else is on my mind. I just feel really relaxed and that really helps me.
Well, I have a few things that I do. Sometimes if I'm not feeling great, I like to go for a walk or go for a cycle just to be outside in the fresh air and to just feel quite refreshed. And one thing actually Shelby Bain told me to do in lockdown, she gave some top tips, and she told me that if you're feeling down, the best thing to do is to look around you and pick an object and think about that object and kind of how it was made, what it does. And I think like sometimes that can really help, just focusing on one thing in a room, because it kind of puts everything into perspective. So like if you're worrying about something, just focus on one bit of that worry and kind of tackle it bit by bit. And I think that's one thing I would say, is to just take things slow, take things bit by bit, or if you're more of a physical person, go outside for a walk or exercise.
For me, one of the things I do when I'm not feeling like myself is either just sit down, take some time to just chill out, because usually I've got myself all in a flap about something that doesn't really need that big of a flap about. So I'll either just sit down, watch a film, watch something else, or maybe sometimes as well just sing, because that helps me to just chill and just relax, or just talk to people. I think that's another one that really helps me to just stay calm, and knowing that other people are there to support you is also a nice thing as well.
So I try to do like a lot of things. So I'll watch like a TV programme I've already watched, or I'll like do baking, or I'll go for a walk, or I really like colouring and like drawing, because I can just focus on that. But yeah, they're just some of the things I like to do.
I would estimate that I spend around 8 to 10 hours on social media every day, and I know that sounds very unhealthy for the mind, and I know that is very bad, but as it is school holidays and summer holidays at the moment, it is a thing that I go on quite a lot. And even when I am at school and I come back from school, I still spend hours on my phone, and especially on social media, and I know that's not very good for me, but
I'd say like 10 hours maybe, to round it up. That was probably, oh no, that was the weekly total. I don't know. I don't know, it depends on the day.
We're like 7 hours a day.
Okay, so I spend quite a lot of time on TikTok and Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and you know, sometimes you do need that break, because I think social media can sometimes be like, you need to look like this, you need to be like this, but really you just need to be yourself.
More than I should. I'm sure that's more than I should. It depends. Obviously if I'm at work, then I can't spend very much time on it at all. But I think I have breaks from social media, so like I'll have a week where I barely look at it at all. But I have friends abroad, so I'll do things like chat to them on Messenger and things like that. But I try and regiment myself so that if I go on, as example, if I go on TikTok, I'll only go on for like half an hour, and I'll set a timer on my watch to remember, because it's very easy for me to just sit and scroll and scroll and scroll for hours on end. But things like Instagram and Facebook, I kind of check them in the morning, I'll check them again in the evening to see if anybody I know's put anything up, any friends have left me a message, checking with some of the groups that I'm on, and then that's pretty much it. But I think on a bad day, when I'm having a bad mental health day, I think I can probably be on there for maybe 4 or 5 hours, which is not good.
Well, when I get up, I just check my socials just to see if I've got any new messages or followers and that. But yeah, I don't really go on it that much. I mainly do other things, but yeah, usually when I wake up in the morning I check my socials.
As an estimate, I would say probably about 45 minutes, just kind of going through Instagram messages, seeing what's happening in the world, but yeah, not too long.
Probably across all the different social medias, probably about just over 4 hours a day.
Every day depends, because obviously I'm more busy on like certain days than others, but I spend probably like 10 hours maybe, which is really bad.
I don't necessarily think that I have any physical effects when I'm struggling with my mental health, which I think is more difficult for other people to read signs that I'm struggling, because it is very difficult to reach out to someone and say, hey look, I'm struggling, I'd like to speak to you about it. So as if you don't have any physical effects, no one can see. I think I'm definitely more mardy, grumpy, tired when I'm struggling with my mental health, but those are the only physical effects that maybe people can see.
Oh yeah, definitely. When I get very anxious, I make myself sick because I'm overthinking being ill, which then makes me ill, which is great when you're travelling and everything. It's just the best. I don't want to, I find it hard to tidy my room or sometimes even look after my animals properly, but I always do it in the end because I always think, they're like rock. They keep me calm.
A major physical effect for me is like not eating, which then obviously causes, you know, dizziness, and I feel tired a lot of the time, which can affect my mood, and that obviously goes off onto other people.
I often start to feel unwell, like physically unwell, not just like when my anxiety starts coming in, I don't just feel anxious, I often feel sick, dizzy, like really hot, I often feel tired.
Yes. For me, I have bipolar and ADHD. So when I am on manic, I probably don't eat, I don't drink enough, so I'll get headaches. If I do drink, I tend to drink coffee rather than water, which is very, I know I should drink. So it knocks on into I don't sleep very much, and I can be very hyperactive for days on end. In my alternate, so when I'm on a downward spiral, so when my depression comes high, I eat too much and I don't eat the right things, so I'll binge on, you know, fast food and chocolate and all the things I'm not meant to eat.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like really down, like I don't really know how to explain it, but I know when I don't feel myself, because like I usually have a bubbly personality, and I know if I'm not myself, yeah, I don't have that.
No, not really. I kind of feel like if I am struggling with something, then I tend to kind of just carry on with life. Like I don't tend to sit back and worry about it. So I wouldn't say there's any physical changes that anybody would notice.
For me, when I know that my physical, mental health is declining, I think I just get really tired and I don't want to speak to anyone. I feel like anything people say to me, I just get so worked up about for no reason, which I wouldn't usually. So like for instance, say someone said something about what was happening in the future, I get so anxious about it and I can't think about what's actually going on, and it just makes me really panic, and so I have to kind of like step out of the situation.
I'm definitely more tired, and just feeling like really groggy and like just not myself, and also my appetite will be like really low, so then that obviously makes me feel like dizzy and just not really well, to be fair.
Social media affects my mental health in a negative way completely, as I go on it a lot more than you should and a lot more than people think you should. It's definitely a negative thing for me especially. I took some time away from TikTok as that's a very toxic app not so long ago for a month, and just from that I saw a complete difference in my mood, and I can see that it definitely helped. I am back on it now and I'm treating it in a different way, whereas anything negative or anything upsetting on there, I just take myself off the app. I'm being more mature about it, and although I still spend a lot of time on social media, I am more careful and I am more aware.
Definitely. When you see something, when you see just people when they're posting like body pictures and whatnot, and you think, oh, wow. And I struggle a lot with my image myself. But then I always got myself out of it, because I'm like, actually they look stunning and they should show it off, you know, like that's what makes them happy.
I think social media is extremely negative impact.
I think it can do, yeah. There's this obviously those celebrities that have got perfect body and, you know, perfect lives, and it isn't, it's edited, and I think you need to know what's real out there. You need to know, like, celebrities do have bad days, famous people, yeah, you know, people have bad days. It's not always happy, it's not always, yay, amazing. And it can be really fake. Social media can be a very toxic place to be. I've received loads of hate on social media, and yeah, I think people just need to know that not everything you see is real.
Yes, definitely yes. This year particularly, so during lockdown, for my mental health and also for the mental health of other people that I knew, I sang a song every day, almost all the way through the first major lockdown. So I sang over 100 songs throughout the lockdown, and they were just things people requested, they wanted to hear, things that were fun. I learned to do sign language through to help with mental health, so I would sign some songs as well. and they all started popping back up again this year on my Facebook memories, and Facebook algorithm picked them all up and just ended my Facebook account. So that was a massive blow, because I'd had Facebook for sort of 12 years, I had lots of friends on there, I had photographs and things on there of friends of mine who aren't here anymore, and that broke me for a very long time.
Well, it did in lockdown, because I used to get a lot of messages, and I used to get bullied a lot over social media. It was mainly on Instagram, and that really it made me really insecure, and my mental health wasn't doing good at that time.
I don't think I've had like a actual experience where social media has like affected me, but sometimes if you see in a group chat that somebody says something bad about you, or you see that somebody said something bad about somebody else, you like for your friend, for example, I think it can affect you, because you can be worried for yourself or worried for your friend. But me personally, I haven't ever seen something on social media that has caused me any stress or any worry.
I'd say social media doesn't have a direct effect on my mental health, but I can see why for other people it does, because you're constantly like comparing yourself to other people, especially with like things like Instagram and like Facebook and other social medias like YouTube and stuff. There's a lot of comparing yourself to like bigger like celebrities or like icons and things like that, because you're like, oh, I need to look like them, which I definitely think is something that the younger generation, like especially today, they'll compare themselves to them, whereas obviously I've been brought up and I don't really compare myself to them, and I've got to think, no, I can't look at them and be affected, but I can see why other people would be affected by it, and obviously this would then have an effect on their mental health.
I'd definitely say so, because it's really like toxic, especially Instagram, because I'll just be scrolling through and there's these like models that look fantastic, and then there will be me with like my hair scruffy, with no makeup, and just and when I'm on it like all the time, I just see like loads and loads and loads of like things that I want to be doing but I can't, so that really, and then I'm like, oh well, yeah.
Like I've already said, I know that it's hard to reach out for help, and I'm saying that because I've experienced it. It's hard to go up to someone and say, like, I need help, please can you listen? Especially to find that person that will listen and just take in what you're saying and be respectful about it. It's very difficult to find that person, but I think the people that I would definitely go to are my parents, number one. Like, they listen, they care, and they're always there no matter what. So I always go to my parents, and my sister is like my best friend. I always go to her whenever I need it, and she always gives the best advice. Family are your number one supporters always. So I will just go to family and my best friend.
Say my friends.
There's a lot of people I go to. I normally go for my mum, my best friend, my friend, or any of my other friends. There's like people at school really help me.
Okay, so I struggle quite a lot to ask for help. Like, you know, there's obviously people around you, but it's the way you approach them, because it can be quite awkward going to someone and say, I need to talk to you because I'm really struggling, or, you know, so I do find it hard to open up to people, but I often find my pastoral manager at school is one of my favourite people to go and talk to. She's always there, she always listens, my mum as well, and there is people as well, like counsellors that you can also go and talk to that also really help, and there's also really good friends out there. You might not think that you have good friends, or if one of your friends is going through a problem, it doesn't mean that you can't talk to them about your problems.
So, my other half, Chris. My three best friends, one of whom lives in America, one lives in Derby, so on the other side of Derby, and one who lives locally, but works all the time. So they're my go-to people, and I can talk to them about pretty much anything.
Well, I usually go to my mum because she listens to me. Or my friends because they listen to me. But yeah, that's where I usually just go to.
I go to my family and my close friends because I do trust my family and my friends, because I think everybody kind of has their go-to people for different things, and I think some problems are great for family and some problems are great for friends, so it's good to have those two sets of people to go to when you need help.
If I need help off anyone, I would either go to like my parents or my boyfriend, or probably my uni friends or my home friends. It just depends, I think, on the situation and who it's involving, and who knew about it at the time. Like, I wouldn't start talking to someone if they didn't really know. Like, you know, if someone knows something about like the start of it or something like that. But that being said, I think I would go to anyone if I felt comfortable, especially people who are maybe going through a similar thing or have been through a similar thing, and they could maybe talk to me about it and give me some advice as well.
So the first person I go to is my fiance, but then I'll like turn to my friends as well, and the last kind of people I'll turn to is my family, just because it's a bit harder to talk to them than it is like my friends and stuff. But yeah.
I notice my mental health declining massively when I'm at school. Exams or the stress of socialising, which might sound crazy to some people, but it can be very difficult for people like me. I go to a very big school with a lot of students, so it can be very difficult, especially if you're not very talkative. You might be with your friends like I am, but when it's people I don't know or people that are older, it can be very difficult, which does make my mental health go worse. It does decline, and I do notice it. Like I said, exams, I struggle with revising, I struggle with the exam day, and sometimes that results in me not getting the best result, as I have an off day and exams are not my thing. So I think school is a definite reason of why my mental health isn't the best.
Yes, it does. It does indeed a lot. But I've just got a new job, which is actually really improving my mental health. So it's all about the job. I think doing the right job. If you're not and it's messing you up in the head, get out. Because you can find any job, but you can't make yourself be happy, you know, in a job that you don't.
Yes, school does affect my mental health a lot.
At school definitely affects my mental health. I have been bullied in school for 6 months now. It really does tire me out, and I think coming home after such a hard day at school, just knowing that you've got your mum, your sister, makes you feel so much better about it as well. Like at school you kind of just want to crumble into a ball and cry, but you know that there's people you can talk to about it, and hopefully if you just keep going it will stop. Like, it won't happen for all your life, you'll know that, but just keep going, try your best and talk to people, because if you're talking to people, that's one way to share your problem and it can make it so much better. So yeah.
Yes. I work in retail, which, yeah. There are people in this world who are just horrible. They just are. They're for whatever reason, they will come in and just be rude people. And I can either be sort of sickly sweet with them and really, really lovely and smile and just do, yeah, it's fine, don't worry about it. And when they've gone, just be like, psh. Or if I'm having a bad mental health day, that sort of person will affect me for the rest of the day and the rest of the evening. The trick is, work is one of those things, it's not your life. Work is what you do to to earn money to live. If you allow the things that happen at work to affect you mentally when you finish work, then you need to start putting coping mechanisms in place. You have to be able to leave it at work. And any job that goes home with you after work, there will be some jobs like that, like working in healthcare, things like that. You will take that stuff home with you, of course you will. But again, it's one of those things you need to have somebody that you can offload with. Not on, because offloading on somebody isn't fair, because that will affect their mental health. But offload with, so somebody who talks to you about their day and you talk to them about your day. So it's a shared thing rather than an offload.
Yes, when I get too much homework or I forget like something that I need in the day and then I get told off, and then that really stresses me out, and that just does not do my mental health any good.
I wouldn't say so. I actually enjoy school. I know some people don't enjoy school, but for me, school doesn't bother my mental health, because if there is something negative going on, I always try to see the positive in things. So even if something is bugging me a little bit, I try and get through it by seeing what positive things are around me. So I wouldn't say that school affects my mental health.
I think there is times where work has affected my mental health, but mainly in the way that I've already been stressed, and then the added pressure of going to work, working set hours, knowing I've got to get home, do all these different things, and then go back again, and you never know what a shift's going to be like as well. So that in the past has had an effect on mental health.
It's kind of 50-50. It doesn't affect it because I'm keeping busy, so I don't really have time to like dwell on my mental health. But then on the flip side, like when I am going through like a tough period, it can become more of a chore, and then obviously I won't be interested in it, and then it just, so it's kind of like 50-50 really, just depends.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Melena Chanel. I am a dancer and actor from Vancouver. I'm originally from Calgary, Alberta, and I've been living here for the past 3 years now in Vancouver. I have worked on a few film and TV sets, which has been really fun. I also am a dance teacher, so I do that full time.
How did you find lockdown, and how did it affect your mental health?
For me, lockdown was hard, just like for everyone, but for me, I didn't expect to live at home for so long. So I was actually in Newfoundland, which is on the far east coast of Canada, and I was coming home from a dance convention / competition that I was adjudicating and teaching at. And I was just gonna plan on coming home for a week, just for March break, for our spring break. And I only had a carry-on with me, so I had maybe max 5 to 6 outfits, not a lot. And then all of a sudden I was there for 3 months. So it was just, for me it was an adjustment because I didn't expect to be there for that long. One, I hadn't lived with my family for at least 2 years. So I had a certain way of living, they had a certain way of living, so it was definitely like getting back into the groove. My mental health definitely took quite a big toll. I felt very grumpy, like I'm sure a lot of people did during the lockdown. But I think again, it was just the fact that I was ripped out of my life without being without a warning, just again, a lot of people had to deal with. So my mental health I was just in a really angry place. For no reason.
What do you do to help yourself when you aren't feeling like yourself?
Honestly, I think that I normally will just take a second and remove myself from whatever I'm doing, whether it's a social thing, and I'm someone who I deal with things very personally. Most of my friends know that unless I tell them about it, I don't want to talk about it. So I'm a very internal person. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, still deciding on that. But I will just remove myself and take a second and do whatever I need. Baths are really good for that. I really love a good bath with like a good candle, some Epsom salt, and a snack. Okay, having a snack in the bath is the best thing in life, and if you haven't done it, you need to do it now. And like, it can be a whole pizza, it can be an apple, I don't care, but having a snack in the bath is just immaculate. Just no topping that.
As an estimate, how long do you spend on social media every day?
Too much time. Absolutely too much time. It's hard. I was talking to my best friend about this the other day. It's hard because social media is also kind of a part of my job. So it's like finding that balance of like, what am I on here for pleasure, or am I on here because I'm actually doing something for a reason? But most of the time I find myself, I am just scrolling. There's really no reason why I'm on there. Yeah, I spend quite a hefty amount of time on social media, which I would love to cut back one day. And estimate, I couldn't tell you, it varies on the day, but TikTok has been really taking all of my time right now. And also I've been working a lot on TikTok with lots of brands and things like that, so that's also been a thing. But yeah.
Are there any physical effects that you notice when your mental health is declining?
Physical, I would say probably I'm just like tired more often, and like my body feels heavy because it's worn out and it just like needs a second to recoup. But yeah, I would say just tired, and like my body gets heavy and it's harder to do things, which is not ideal when all I do is physical activity for my job. So that's not great.
Does social media affect your mental health negatively?
I think, yeah, it does sometimes. For the most part, I've been pretty lucky in the fact that I haven't really gotten any hate or anything negative towards me specifically. I think during lockdown was definitely the hardest time, and I actually deleted my Instagram app at one point because there's just so much going on, because everyone had the time to like now start thinking about all the the things we need to focus on, like climate change, like diversity and things like that. But it was a lot to see it every single day and the same thing every single day. And it didn't mean I didn't care, it just meant like it was just a lot for my brain to process all at once, so I needed to take a break there because that was affecting my mental health. But yeah, I would say for the most part I've been pretty lucky in the fact that it hasn't really taken a toll on my mental health. I think that when I was younger and I first got on the next step, I was obsessed with keeping up with my followers and posting every single day and making sure that I had content and making sure that there was this, and like that was, I think, when I was like probably the most unhealthy with social media, is like just being obsessed with the fact that my followers needed to grow. Oh, I just got to 5,000. Oh, I want the K. I need to get to 10,000. Oh, I'm not getting this many likes. What is going on? And just like that was my brain, and I don't really know when it switched. I think it was probably after high school or like mid-high school that I stopped caring about how many followers I had and what my engagement was. I just posted if I wanted to post. And I'm definitely like starting to post a little more frequently, just because again, it still is my job and I do brand deals and things like that and I have to keep up. But yeah, I stopped worrying about keeping up with the numbers, and if people want to follow me, they'll follow me, and I just didn't like it myself, and I do it at a healthy place now. I watch TikTok because I want to watch TikTok. I'm not on there trying to make sure that I'm getting hundreds and thousands of followers and blah, blah, blah. I just do it for fun, and I think that's what switched my mentality, and that's why I have a healthier relationship with social media now. But definitely when I first got into being in the public eye of some sorts, it definitely was hard, because you're like, what do I do? And then there's also all the like fans, and they're amazing, but then they also have their opinions about certain things, and we see everything. So that's definitely sometimes hard when you see like someone's like, I don't like this character, whatever, and even though it's just a character you played, you kind of take it personally because that character is you in a way, if that makes sense. But yeah, for the most part, I'm in a healthy relationship with social media right now, but definitely at the start it was a bit of navigation that I had to go through.
Who are the people you go to when you need help?
Definitely my mom. My mom is like my number one person that I call anytime I need something. Even to this day, sometimes I can't make decisions and I'm like, I need to call my mom to talk about the pros and cons. And I am 21 years old, so that never changes. I don't think she's my best friend, so I'll always talk to her. And then my best friends, I have like multiple best friends, but they all are for like different parts of my life, if that makes sense as well. So I definitely talk to different friends about different things. So depending on what the situation is, I might go to this person or I might go to this person. But for the most part, my mom gets everything. So, my mom.
Do you feel pressure to fit in or act a certain way on social media?
No, I don't think so. Or at least I haven't given it much thought. I have always been who I am, and that's not changing. And I've been really fortunate enough to have a support system and a loving and supporting family who has always praised me for being unique and being my own person. And it might have been just growing up, the fact that like I have always been the only person of color everywhere I went. And like I grew up with a white family. Like I'm not adopted, some people think I am. But it was just like that was my situation and like how my family dynamic went. So I think I just got used to it really early of like being the unique one, and I took it as an advantage rather than like thinking I had to fit in.
What do you do to help a friend in need of help?
Well, I guess like first is figuring out as that person what works for them best, because everyone deals with things differently. I definitely deal with things differently than my friends. Some people need just someone to talk to. Some people just don't want to talk but need someone to just be there. So I think it's figuring out what that certain person needs and how they deal with things, and then going from there and being the best support system possible. I am always there for every single person in my life. If you are in my life, there's a reason, and I care for you, and I will drop at the dime of a hat if you need me. I've made that very clear to everyone in my life. But yeah, sometimes people don't need to talk to you, they just need to know you're there if they want to talk.
What advice would you give to someone who is struggling with their mental health currently?
If someone's struggling with their mental health, I think the best thing that someone could do, or like what I would give advice to, is just being okay to feel that. And I'm learning that as well, is that instead of pushing it away, I think that makes it so much worse. That being said, it's much easier said than done, and I'm still learning to do it. But the more you push it down, the more it's gonna bottle up, and I'm someone who's very passive aggressive when I deal with things, so I push everything down and then eventually I just blow up, and that's not fair to anyone. So I'm learning that it's okay to feel a certain way. Doesn't mean that you like wallow in it, but you acknowledge it, you say, okay, I'm feeling this way right now, and then you decide how you want to go about that. If it's that you just feel like you need to take a day, then take a day. Don't take a week. But I think listening to ourselves, and I think that that's something that some of us, a majority of us, are really bad at, is that we're really good at giving advice, but then if we were to take the advice we just gave someone else for the exact same situation, we will never take it. So I also think it's really good to find a friend who's almost like you. I have a friend who we are very similar, so like I go to her when I know how to deal with this situation, but I don't want to take that advice. So I ask her because I know she's going to give me the advice that I already know, but it's coming from someone else. So then I'm more likely to take it. But yeah, I think just like learning that it's okay to feel a certain way and allowing yourself to acknowledge it, to accept it, and that it doesn't make you weaker, it doesn't make you a worse person, it just is life, and that you are feeling this way, and that is okay.
It's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to talk about how you feel.
Just don't worry about what other people think, because I think that is such a big thing, and just to focus on yourself.
Never be afraid to ask for help. That's my biggest piece of advice.
and realise that it's actually okay not to be okay. And maybe then people around you will help you realise that, and then you will take that next step further to get professional help, you know, and understand that it's okay to do that and that you're not alone.
People have bad days and struggles sometimes, but if you're really struggling, then always speak to someone you trust. And there's so much help out there, so always take it if you need it.
And you will, honestly, you will be happy again at some point, but it will take time, and it's okay to have ups and downs, but in the end, it'll be so worth it for staying here and being here.